So I am headed to my customer. Good news, and got some good news and some just things I just want to kind of like get off my mind. Not that it's weighing me down, but it's like, imagine you there's this prank show where they pull a prank and they have a person stand in line at the checkout at the grocery store, and they wait with someone with a full basket of goods to come up to the register and to start to check out. And then they got it set up where the person right behind them has like only one item, and they say, "Hey, excuse me, I only got one item. Do you mind if I just get in front of you, and because I just got this one item?" And they're like, "Oh, sure." And then as soon as that person with the one item checks out, all of a sudden all this confetti falls, bells ring, like the siren light goes round and round, and they're like, "Congratulations, you're our 10,000th customer, and you have won our $1 million. So then obviously the person that's getting pranked is like, "What? You know, I let him in front of me." You know, and that's the whole prank. Kind of funny. But imagine how it feels like just to know that in that moment right then, like you had the opportunity, you know, assuming that it wasn't a prank, that you were just like one step off from being able to have your life changed like that. Well, when I went and lived in the trailer about 3 years ago, yeah, it's been 4 years. I can't believe it already. And all it took was one corrupt government agency to do a power move and remove my ability to provide for my son through corruption, to just take it all away from me at once. After having battled through court systems and corrupt agencies for 12 years, I finally got my own place, my own landscape equipment, ready to do my business. Super cheap rent, $400 a month in 2021, in a 2-bedroom home. And granted, yeah, it was an old trailer in a trailer park, but you know, I made it clean and livable. You know what I mean? So I was, for the first time in 12 years in my own place, finally ready to, you know, to rebuild. And then early 2022, in spring of 2022, it got stripped out from under me, like instantly. Well, not necessarily instantly, because as you recall, I continued to work, and I had a plan, you know, or it was 2021, and I had a plan. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do something about this. And then I started this channel, and I was gonna do all kinds of fun stuff, right? And I'll get to that in a moment, but first I'm gonna bring up one of the bits of good news. Is I got a new customer that a couple weeks ago I put some ads out, and might have been last week, for the first time this year, and I scored this customer. It's a job. I'm going to charge him $1,582, and so he's going to send me half of the deposit today, he says, and then hopefully I'll get started on Wednesday. So I'll make a little profit off of it. It's not like the best of money, but it's one of those times where for me it's a really good chunk of cash. That'll be the revenue, because I'm gonna have to pay $260 something for the mulch and have it delivered, and then I'm gonna have to buy I think the plants that I'm gonna install are like $120. So, and then I'm gonna take my son with me and let him work and pay him. So I'm probably gonna make, when all is said and done, I haven't done the math on it yet, I might pull in about $600 to $800 this week, which is good. And if I can get an account like this every week, and it may seem to most people like, well, why haven't you been doing this all summer? The truth of it is or all year. Truth of it is every job I do, I literally take all my money and it goes right back into bills, food, whatever. And with the influx of all the regular customers I've had, like, you know, I keep going from job to job to job to job to job to job. It's kept me so overwhelmingly busy that I work every day. Like, for example, tomorrow, Tuesday, I want to take the day off to do some things, you know, just to chill if I can. However, moments ago, I was just looking at it and I was like, that's going to be impossible. I'm not even going to be able to take a day off, right? Like, I'm still going to have to mow and do work around where I live. I'm still going to have to do these house chores. So I got to do laundry. I'm not going to get a day off, point blank. Technically, I could just drop my son off at the laundromat and say, hey, do our laundry, you know, figure it out, do the laundry. And I could do that. He will do work if I ask him. So I kind of feel like I'm even now more in a place where I can actually, I feel like I'm more in a place where I can actually get him to help me. Like, you know, I got a customer, the one that I was going to cancel and not do any longer because it's kind of about an hour out. Like, they've hit me up again and they want me to come back. They're doing really super cheap property cleanup for like $120, and it's about an hour away. And like, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it. You know, what's it going to hurt me? Like, it's not a lot of money at all, but I figure I'll just do it this one more time and let them know that I'm no longer coming out there. Because even if it's that small amount of money and it's a 2-hour drive, I still walk away with some cash. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, so in that sense, a little bit is better than nothing. I'm just trying to refrain from driving my truck too far. But just think about it. I took $5 and I've turned it into $800, right? From a $5 ad, right? That I put on Craigslist. And so a fifth, it's good. Like I said, I charged him a total of $1,582. And so, and I even, when I did the quote, I included a percentage to take out for tax, you know. So that's why I say I'll probably walk away with $600 to $800, which is not bad. And then I'll also have another property I'll probably be going, I may go to this week. It'll be like super small, like usually it's just like literally a couple hours probably, and I'll make between $50 to $75 most times I go there because it's super small. But so that's the good news. And but yeah, like I was just thinking, I'm trying not to cling to the past. I kind of like look at it in a hopeful way. I'm actually this guy right here I'm going to now, he's like one of my second longest customer that I've ever had. he's got a property that extends from one road, and you go through the woods, and it comes out on the other road. And he said he lives in an enormous, gigantic house that looks like a small castle, kind of. Maybe that's too exaggerated, but it's a pretty huge house. I might show it to you when we pull up. But anyways, I'm thinking I'm gonna attempt to pitch to him today. Like, if you could want me to, I could, instead of you paying me to come do work here, let me put a camper somewhere on the other side of your property for a temporary time, and I can stay on my camper. I can stay in a camper and then do your property for free. Do like an exchange, an agreement on doing the property, and or something. And well, with him, what I'm hoping is I can ask him if I can make an arrangement where, since I'll be on my own camper, where like, hopefully he won't like charge me rent. Now, if he wants to charge me rent, then I would be okay with that too. But you see what I'm saying? I'm trying to cut costs. So if I could just make an arrangement to where he lets me put the camper on the property and I just do the property maintenance like that, then that's really going to save me a lot of money if he'll let me, and make it a good deal. I'll maintain his property, and it's a big property, right? And then that way, I could have a place to stay, and it won't be like financially draining. So I think about the trailer. The first year, as you already know, they suspended my license, and so instead of saving money, and that it was great to have $400 a month in rent, but I could barely even make it because I didn't have transportation to my jobs. And then I'd have to pay the lady between $25 to sometimes $40 per trip, like per trip. So if she drops me off in the morning, $25 to $30 to go there, and then $30 to come back and pick me up, or sometimes even more than that. I had to make it worth an incentive. I couldn't just be throwing her, here's $5 or $10 for helping me out. I had to make an incentive for her to want to drive me, because they lived on government benefits, and what they do at the first of the month, they just be out of money, right? They blow it, spend their rent, pay their bills, and then go splurge, go to a restaurant, and then they'd be out of money in a short time. So it's like they were always anticipating that I would get jobs, but see, that caused, I made just enough for us to eat and for that first year. And then it was the following year after that, when the owner sold the property, after another year, that I ended up having to move out because they sold the property. But man, like on my old art page, I even got a video where me and my son, we were making the cabinet knobs for our cabinets. We made them out of air dry clay, and I made like a video with that, and I was going to document my whole journey and experience along the way. And that's what I mean when I say it's like a castle. You drive in, it's got a kind of that castle look. It's a pretty big house. He's saying that on the equal opposite side, so there's this road right here, and then there's a parallel road. You go like a mile through the woods, there's a road that's parallel, and he's like thinking about building another house onto similar to this design on the other side. And so anyways, I think about that trailer and how like we were working on the cabinet knobs, and I had like these different projects. I think it would have been like a good, fun social media channel the way I had my plans in mind. Like if you go look on my old art page, you could see that I was just dabbling and experimenting like that. My social media from my artist brand is not a full reflection of my whole entire brand, like because I was making art and selling art. And but anyways, I was gonna make it kind of like my artist page is like, I was gonna do all these extra things and make like a YouTube channel that kind of built up an identity with that character. And uh and so on there you see we made the magical cabinet knobs for our cabinets, and then I was going to end up doing a design on the kitchen floor there. The kitchen floor looked awful, and I was going to make it to where lights beam out of the kitchen floor, like the floor was cracked and lights would come out of it, and make like a YouTube video of how I'm doing it and the progress, because people like that kind of stuff. And then in the winter we had the light, like we didn't have any trees or shrubs surrounding the property at all, and there's a dirt road, and so all the dust would rise up, and and it made my place kind of dusty. Really, kind of reminds me of the movie Interstellar. Everything they're always having to battle dust. So my place would get a little bit dusty, because of the constant cars driving up the gravel road, and we were so close to it. And so finally, I the way the sun beamed down in the winter, I thought it would be a fun project. I don't know if you've seen these. They're like these solar heaters that you can make out of cans, and you make a box, and then you put like a rectangular shaped box, or it could be square, but you align cans on the inside of it, and on the top part of the box you put a clear glass or a clear what's that, acrylic square to cover it. And what it does, after you've painted the cans black and you've painted the inside of the box black, the sun shines into that, and it makes heat. And you hook a tube to it, and you stick it in your window with a little fan, and it makes like free solar heat. And I was going to try that as an experiment. I had a clear not a clear, but a tub that I was going to not a tub, but a barrel, a plastic barrel that was safe, that it didn't have any toxic chemical in it previously. And I was going to make like a rain barrel out of it, and I was going to document the whole process of all this stuff, and then have it irrigate down to my plants. And I was just going to basically cyberpunk it up. The ceilings I already had painted blue. I may have had clouds in the ceilings. I don't remember if I did. I was going to paint the inside part of the inside of the trailer, the living room part. I was going to make it painted as if we were outside, and have some crumbled down walls painted on, so that the walls would look kind of like a post-apocalyptic scene. And just make it like a fun type of YouTube channel, right? And then leverage that as kind of like a marketing means to sell more of my art. Because, like I said in the other video, I was going to integrate things that are close to my personality, or my interests. Things like cyberpunk aesthetic, Outrun, magical, 80s aesthetic, and just other artistic and creative stuff. I was just going to integrate all that into a brand. And as I mentioned in the other video, my main driver, and I'm not reluctant or hesitant to admit or say that I'm trying to make money. I'm not hesitant at all. I just simply understand that by doing the action, by making the money, it gives me more leverage. it's a tool in order to help me to get connected with more and more people that are on my level, that comprehend life the way I do, and get life the way I do, and people that that share the same values and interests as I do. So predominantly, even my building my art brand was meant as a means to connect with the right people. And since I'm a business person, I understand that the money is the tool that helps create that leverage. No different than how a wrench allows me to install or screw on the blade onto my lawnmower. It's no different than the money being the wrench to screw that blade on, or the screwdriver to drive the screw in. Money is the means, and creating the brand in order to make the money to keep building it, it becomes the means for me to be able to connect with the types of people I wanted to connect with. And I guess I'm still trying to work on how to word that best, but I'm at least glad I finally figured out how to word that, right? Like, me with the intent to, and even if I was all about the money, like, I'm just trying to make money, I don't even care. Like, if that was my goal, I would tell you, and it is my goal, right? To try to build an artist brand so I can make money. But, a lot of people hate hearing, like, oh, you're just trying to make money. Like, they hate hearing anybody talk about making money as if there was something wrong with it, as if it were a sin. But I just see money as a tool, no different than a hammer. You could take a hammer and build a house with it, or you can crush somebody's head with it. It's just a matter of how you use it, right? But anyways, I got to go to work, and just making a quick video, and we'll talk soon. I'm gonna listen to Kirk's. Right before I uploaded this, I seen Rudy. Thanks for sharing my other video, and I seen Kirk do a response video right before I hit record on this. So I'm gonna be listening to that while I work. All right, y'all. Peace.